We are standing at the epicenter of a silent monetary revolution. This is the end of a 50-year era, an era in which the US dollar, USD, and the Fiat system reigned from an absolute throne. But the crack is no longer just in the paint on the wall. It has spread all the way down to the foundation. A new order is forming in the shadows. A harsher, more decentralized system where trust is no longer placed in politicians' promises, but in real values, gold commodities, and mathematics. In this report, we will strip bare the raw truths that the mainstream press so often avoids. We will stare inflation's monster straight in the eye, feel the decline of an empire with our own hands, and most importantly, find a way for our own wallets to survive. Welcome to Inner Shadows, where the truth society doesn't want you to know live. When the greenback is stained with blood. To understand why the USD is in danger, we don't need the soothing assurances from the White House or the US Federal Reserve Fed. Let's look at the numbers. Numbers are the only language that doesn't know how to lie, yet they are cold to the point of cruelty. America's power was built on two pillars, the military and the dollar. But now the second pillar is being hollowed out from within by America's own greed and arrogance. The first cut. The smina of trust. Gold crushes bonds. For half a century since Richard Nixon closed the gold window in 1971, the world has been forced to play by one rule. US Treasury bonds are the safest asset on earth. Commodity exporting nations like China, Vietnam, Japan, and oil exporters like Saudi Arabia earn USD. What do they do with that pile of paper? They are compelled to circle back and buy US bonds to earn interest. America prints paper to exchange for the world's real goods, and then the world sends that paper back to America to hold for safekeeping, a perfect circle of sophisticated exploitation. But now the wind has changed. For the first time in modern financial history, a strange phenomenon is unfolding. The total amount of gold held by central banks and institutional investors is trending towards surpassing their holdings of US bonds. This is not merely portfolio reallocation. This is a slap in the face of the Fed. The world is quietly sending a hard message. I'd rather hold a cold, lifeless lump of metal sitting in a dark vault than hold Uncle Sam's IOU. Why? Because gold has no counterparty risk. When you hold US bonds, you're holding the US government's promise to repay. But if that government prints money recklessly until the currency is debased, or worse, if they decide to default through politically driven sanctions. Look at Russia in 2022. More than $300 billion in Russia's foreign reserves was frozen by the West with a single mouse click. That event was the death knell for faith in the USD. Other countries from China and India to Brazil suddenly woke up. If America can do that to a nuclear power like Russia, then it can do that to us too. Gold is different. Gold is freedom. Gold needs no password, no script system, and most importantly, gold cannot be printed by any old man sitting in an office in Washington. The second cut. The great flight from 49% down to 31%. This is the number that keeps policymakers on Capitol Hill awake at night, though they will never admit publicly that foreign investors' share of US Treasury holdings has plunged from a peak of 49% during 2011 to 2013 to just 31% at present. Imagine America as a massive public company. For the past 10 years, its largest shareholders, foreign nations, have been quietly, steadily dumping shares. They sell little by little, wear it down over time, and pull capital back home. So the question is, who is buying to fill that enormous void? The answer is darkly comedic: the Fed and America's own domestic financial institutions. America is falling into the trap of eating itself. When the world no longer has an appetite for US debt, the Fed is forced to print more money to buy its own government's debt under the nice name of quantitative easing QE, or market intervention tools. This is the classic sign of a late-stage declining empire. It loses the ability to raise cheap external capital and begins using internal inflation to keep its bloated machinery running. It's like an addict who can no longer borrow money, so they start selling off the furniture in their own house to feed the habit. The third cut. The gold thirst of the giants. Now look east. China, Russia, India, Turkey, And even smaller countries like Poland, Singapore, what are they doing? They are buying gold continuously at the fastest pace in more than 50 years. In just recent months, even as gold breaks all-time highs, central bank buying has not eased. Why buy gold at peak prices? Isn't the investment rule, buy low, sell high? Because for these countries, today's gold price is still cheap compared to the risk of a systemic monetary collapse. They aren't buying gold for jewelry. They aren't buying gold to speculate for a few percentage points. They are buying to establish a defensive position and to prepare the infrastructure for a new payment mechanism. Gold will return to its historic role, the judge, the ultimate settlement asset for trade between nations without going through America's script system. And when these three trends converge, trust in bonds collapses, foreigners dump US debt, and massive physical gold hoarding accelerates. America is truly being pushed to the wall. And like a wounded beast, America is more dangerous than ever. It is forced to strike back. America's strategic triangle and the price the world pays. Never underestimate America's power. It may be weakening, but it is still an old lion full of cunning. To save the USD and maintain hegemonic control, America's elite are executing three brutal strategies at the same time. Understand these three strategies, and you will understand why the world today feels so insane. Strategy 1. Exporting chaos, selling fear as a business. Have you ever wondered why the world has suddenly become unstable relentlessly so over the past few years? Why Eastern Europe is aflame, the Middle East is burning, and the South China Sea is surging? Why coups in Africa keep happening? Don't be naive and believe it's coincidence. In geopolitics, nothing is accidental. War and instability are the best short-term cardiac medicine for the USD. The mechanism is ruthless. First, fear flows. When bombs fall, global capital panics, by conditioned reflex built over 50 years. It runs for shelter, and ironically, that shelter is still the USD because of its unmatched liquidity. America exports chaos outward to import fear-driven capital back home. Second, weapons demand. War creates massive demand for weapons. And who is the world's #1 arms dealer? America. Multi-billion-dollar defense contracts get signed. Money flows back into US defense giants like Lockheed Martin, Raytheon. Third, energy control. War disrupts supply chains, pushing oil and gas prices higher. Europe is cut off from cheap Russian gas and is forced to buy LNG at prices 3 to 4 times higher from the US. America, once an energy importer, has become the largest energy exporter, draining the financial resources of its own allies. America needs chaos to reaffirm its role as global police. It wants to send a message. Without my protection, your world will drown in fire. Strategy 2. The blockchain trap. New bottle old wine. Many people think blockchain, Bitcoin, and crypto are the sworn enemies of the US government. Wrong. That's amateur thinking. America's elite realize they cannot kill this technology. So what will they do? They will tame it and weaponize it. We've seen the rise of tightly regulated stablecoins like USDC, PYUSD, and even more frightening CBDC, central bank digital currency. America's purpose in pushing CBDCs and controlling stablecoins is not to bring you financial freedom. The purpose is to create a massive sponge to absorb the excess USD floating around the world by digitizing the dollar and integrating it into global blockchain networks. America wants to ensure that even if you trade P2P, even if you use the most advanced technology, even if you are in the farthest corner of the internet, the final unit of account must still be the USD. CBDCs allow the government to track every cent you spend, automatically withhold taxes, and even freeze your wallet if your behavior or your ideology doesn't align. This is the new bottle old wine attempt to control money flows in the digital age, turning currency into a tool of total surveillance. Strategy 3. The interest rate chokehold. The global shearing process. Fed raising interest rates is not simply about fighting domestic inflation. If you think that you are far too naive about political economy, keeping rates high for a long time is a weapon of mass destruction against emerging economies. The blood-sucking mechanism works like this. 1. When USD interest rates rise, the USD strengthens. 2 investment capital flees emerging markets such as Vietnam, Thailand, Brazil, and returns to the US to earn high risk-free yields. 3 countries that borrowed in USD see their debt burden explode because their local currency depreciates against the USD. 4. To defend exchange rates. Those countries must sell foreign reserves, i.e., sell USD, or raise domestic rates to extreme levels, choking their internal economies. Result: the weakest links snap like Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Egypt. When they default, who comes to rescue them? The answer is the IMF and the WB. These US-influenced institutions arrive with loans tied to harsh austerity conditions, forcing countries to sell national resources cheaply to Western corporations. This is the periodic shearing of the sheep that America has carried out for decades to restructure the global order in its favor whenever it faces trouble. The future picture. 3 scenarios for the era of chaos. We don't have a crystal ball to see the future with precision, but based on macro data, we can sketch the 3 most plausible scenarios, and let me warn you, none of them are rosy. Scenario 1. Prolonged decay. Inflation. Stagnation. This is the most likely scenario. America doesn't collapse overnight, but the USD will steadily, persistently lose value. Inflation will stay anchored at 4 to 6% instead of 2%. While growth remains sluggish, the world will split into 2 clear poles: the G7 bloc led by the US and its allies, and the BRICS Plus bloc, China, Russia, and the Global South. Global trade fragments. Commodity prices climb due to supply chain breaks. In this scenario, working people suffer the most. Wages can't keep up, savings slowly evaporate. You will find yourself working more but able to buy fewer assets. Scenario 2. Immediate shock. A full-scale financial crisis. The Fed keeps rates too high for too long, and some bomb may explode. US commercial real estate, Japan's sovereign debt market, or a major bank collapse. That event triggers a global domino chain of defaults. Liquidity freezes. Stock markets vaporize by 30% to 50%. Then the Fed is forced into a 180-degree reversal, rates back to 0%, and money printing on a scale never seen before, multiple times larger than the COVID-19 era, to save the entire system. The consequence is hyperinflation afterward. Money loses massive value, and this is when the true death of the greenback occurs, clearing the path for an entirely new monetary system. Scenario 3. A multipolar order. The USD doesn't die, but it loses its exclusive crown. It becomes one of several strong currencies sharing power with the yuan, the euro, and possibly a BRICS common currency, backed by gold or commodities. Oil trade will no longer be priced exclusively in USD. Countries will trade in each other's local currencies. This is the fairest scenario, but also the hardest to achieve peacefully, because America will never accept sharing power unless forced by military pressure or economic collapse. Survival manual: player or pawn. Don't indulge in fantasies. In the power struggle among superpowers, America, China, BRICS, you, me, all of us are just pawns on the board. And of course they're willing to sacrifice pawns to save the king. Interest rates, crises, pandemics, these are just tools. So, in the face of this storm, what do we do? Sit still and wait to die, or act. Here is the roadmap so you don't get lost in the coming financial labyrinth. 1. The golden rule. Follow the sharks. In investing, don't listen to what they say on TV. Look at what they do. Watch the central bank's moves. They hold the world's insider information. They know what's coming a year before we do. What are they doing? They are buying physical gold like mad. What should you do? You should accumulate too. Physical gold is the final anchor insurance against the banking system collapsing or paper money becoming worthless paper. Don't buy paper gold. Don't buy gold certificates. Buy what you can hold, grip, and hide. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. 2. Don't ignore crypto. On this strategy in particular, I can't say much because it's very sensitive. Pay attention, research more, and then make your own decision. 3. Replan risk. Cash is king, but cash flow is queen. In recession and high-rate periods, cash is king because it lets you seize cheap assets when markets crash. But holding cash too long in high inflation is also suicide. The solution is cash flow producing assets. High-risk assets like abandoned suburban land plots, speculative non-dividend stocks, these need to be purged immediately. Shift toward assets that generate money even while you sleep. Real value rental property, stocks of essential producers. Electricity, water, food, healthcare, with long histories of steady dividends. When the economy collapses, people may not buy a new iPhone or travel, but they still have to eat, still need electricity, and still need a place to rent. 4. Erase debt, cut the slave chains. This is the most sincere and urgent advice. If you have debt, focus on paying it down. The era of cheap money and low percent rates is over. We are entering an age of high rates and volatility. If you're carrying floating rate debt like mortgages or car loans, you're holding a ticking bomb. When recession hits, your income drops, job loss, pay cuts while your bank interest costs spike. That is a double squeeze, and it will crush you. You'll lose everything: house, car, maybe even your dignity. Liquidate some non-earning assets to repay debt immediately. Live simply. With a lighter load, you can go farther. Don't become a bank's slave in this great restructuring. 5. Invest in yourself. The one asset that cannot be confiscated. In a world where money can be debased, gold can be banned, land can be taxed heavily, the only thing no one can take from you is your capability and your mindset. Learn to earn money independent of location. Learn personal finance. Learn languages. Learn real survival skills. When crisis hits, the rich aren't those with the most paper money, but those who adapt the fastest. 6. Beware Black Swan 2.0. Never assume it won't happen to me. A war expanding into a third world war possible. A new pandemic worse than COVID entirely possible. The global internet being taken down, nothing is impossible. Billionaires in Silicon Valley are building bunkers in New Zealand and Hawaii. It seems they know something we don't. Always prepare an emergency reserve in cash, gold enough for your family to survive 6 to 12 months with no income. Stock basic medicine and food. COVID-19 taught us a lesson written in blood. This civilized society is only 3 meals away from chaos. This monetary revolution is not some distant story about suit-wearing guys on Wall Street or politicians in Washington. It is the story of your daily rice bowl, your clothes, your child's milk, and your retirement future. A new world is forming through pain and chaos, where the USD weakens yet grows more aggressive, where new alliances rise, and where gold returns to the throne. In that world, naivete is a sin, and ignorance will be paid for with an entire lifetime of savings. Don't believe in fake prosperity illusions. Don't let the media lead you by the nose. Look at history. Read about the fall of the Roman Empire when they debased the denarius. Read about the Weimar Republic, when people had to haul money in carts to buy bread. Read about the Nixon shock of 1971. History doesn't repeat word for word, but it always rhymes, and the verses of collapse are sounding clearer than ever. You have been warned the storm is coming, and it will not knock politely to ask whether you are ready. The only question left is this: when the tide goes out, will you be wearing protective gear, or will you be the one naked swimming in the current?